Joe's airplane. Oh, failure. Failure. What a bummer. All right, I'm officially tired. It is soaking wet. This is a royal pain in the rear. Y'all have seen me struggle long enough. Because I need to make a video. And this is getting frustrating, so here we go. I think you guys have seen me make enough fires. You know I can make one. But not today, I guess. Could have had it that very first time, I think, but just not dry enough. It's been a long time since I haven't been able to make a fire for a video like that. I was due for a bad fire day. But always bring backup plans. That's the moral of the story, I guess, huh? Not to make excuses, but y'all can see the degree of wet that is here. Pretty wet. What's up, guys? Ernie here, Paleo Hiker MD channel. As y'all can see, I struggled mightily in getting a fire going this morning. I'm gonna check my water, see how it looks. So today I'm doing the Show Me Your Steak challenge. I was tagged by Edward over at Crocom Outdoors. This is a challenge that was started by Hayes Outdoors out in the UK, and it's basically to bring awareness to men's mental health. I was excited to be tagged in it. I wish I could have gotten it done a little sooner, but it's just been busy with the holidays and everything. I'm currently building up my coal bed because I'm going to be cooking my steak over a nice bed of coals, and while I do that, I'm using the flame to get some water boiling for a little cup of joe. As a practicing internal medicine and sleep physician, I think I probably bring a little bit of a different viewpoint to this challenge, since a big part of what I do every day is deal with people and very often their mental health challenges. So I hope maybe I can add a little bit of different take to this challenge than maybe some others have. But before we start talking about men's mental health, let's get our steak going. Now, even though we have this fire going and we could easily cook our steak over an open fire, that's not what we're gonna do. You guys can see that I have my new swing arm kit from Self-Reliance Outfitters. I can just about hear my water boiling for my coffee. But I'm actually gonna cook the steak a little bit differently. My kids love teriyaki steak, and my dad somehow or another found this recipe. It's as easy as it gets, but I'll tell y'all, it is the best teriyaki steak you'll ever eat. I've watched a lot of the Show Me Your Steak challenge videos, and of course there's nothing wrong with cooking your steak right over an open fire and grilling it that way. That's the way I usually do it. But we're gonna do it a little bit different. Let me get my water off that is now boiling. I'm gonna make some coffee. Just brought some Starbucks Via today, a little instant coffee. And I'm gonna drink me some coffee while this comes down to coals, and we're gonna talk. I've got my plate here. I'm going to use the underside for the raw meat. So none of y'all freak out. I'm just going to put my raw meat right on the underside here. So we've just got our raw meat here. A little bit of pepper, Now it's going to get a lot of flavor from the sauce, obviously, but go ahead and season both sides. The secret to this recipe is in this little thing right here. This is equal parts soy sauce, mirin, which is like a sweet rice seasoning you can find at most grocery stores, and sake. So equal parts, so a third, a third, a third. I'm gonna let this get super hot, and then once the coals are really, really low, I'll drop the pan almost right on top of it, and it's time to cook. I'm gonna be using this meat fork from the Hidden Woodsman. I'm not sure if Malcolm sells these anymore. You may still be able to get one, I'm not sure. But really nice. It's gonna be perfect for flipping our steak because we're about to make a tremendous amount of smoke and a tremendous amount of noise. All right, so let's lower this thing right on the coals. This is bound to be pretty hot. I'll put that right here for a second. We're just gonna drop this straight down. Now, I will tell you all that I prefer my steak where you can still hear it mooing. So I really do like it pretty rare. So this is actually almost done for me. So we'll take our little concoction here. Okay, this is again 1 part mirin, 1 part soy sauce, 1 part sake. All right, meat is definitely done to my liking, so it's gonna come out while we let this sauce just simmer a little bit longer. There you go, guys. That's the consistency you're looking for. It's like a syrup almost. You could let it go a little longer, but I'm hungry, so this is just as good as anything else. Man. So a lot of my patients, especially guys, they see anxiety and they see depression and they see that as a sign of weakness, like something's wrong with them. It's certainly not part of the typical kind of male or masculine viewpoint to admit that you could be depressed or admit that you could be anxious or admit that those things may affect your overall life. What's funny is, you know, if you have chest pain, most people will go to the doctor and say, look, I got chest pain. They'll go to the emergency room, or if they develop diabetes, they'll try to treat it. Certainly if you've got cancer, you're gonna go get all the scans you need and you're gonna try to fight it. For some reason, depression is something that people don't even see as a real disease. They don't see it as something worth fighting. It's like a sign of weakness. So to that end, it's something that often gets kind of swept under the rug, especially by guys. And that can be super dangerous, guys. It's just not something you want to do. Depression and anxiety are real. If you've never experienced any kind of depression or anxiety, then you don't understand. But I find it hard to believe that everybody, at least at some point in their life, hasn't experienced some form of it. Some families have a lot of it, and it really runs rampant through there, and it's just something that's inborn, some kind of a chemical imbalance. Again, those words, chemical imbalance and inborn and genetic, that indicates a real disease, something that has to be treated, something that if you throw under the rug and you just cover up, you're not going to be able to handle on your own. Men tend to hold everything in. They have to be the rock of the family. They feel a lot of burdens, and they feel like they have to be the quote-unquote strong one often. Now that's just maybe a generalization, and maybe some people will say that's an overgeneralization, but it's what I see here in the South, what I see here in Louisiana, and what I experience with my patients. So I feel comfortable kind of pointing those things out and looking at them that way. So what happens is when men tend to hold everything in, they tend to isolate themselves. They become the isolated man. You just kind of go off and do your own thing. You head to the shop, you go hunting, you go on trips, you dive into work. Because when you're busy and when you're doing those things, you don't feel that weight. You don't feel that pressure. You don't feel those things that necessarily may make you feel more depressed. I've definitely had periods in my life where I have suffered from, minor depression. Nothing severe, but things that have definitely affected me, they've affected my kids, and they've affected my wife. Those things are important because they don't just affect you. If you're looking at yourself and you think that maybe you have problems with depression or anxiety and you don't know what to do, realize that you are affecting everyone around you. And that's a big, big deal. Even if you don't feel like you should find treatment because of you, find it for others, find it for other people. Maybe you can be an example for other people and help them find the help that they need. Now, I was talking to my wife last night and telling her about shooting this video as we were kind of getting ready for bed, laying in bed together. And she was reading, and it's interesting. She read a statistic that you're more likely to die of suicide in America than you are to die in a car wreck. That's pretty amazing. 1 in 88 people kill themselves. I don't know statistics of men versus women, and obviously female mental health is important too, but the point of this video and the point of this challenge is to put a highlight on men's mental health. 1 in 88 people kill themselves. Think about that. That is a reason not to hold it in. That is a reason not to keep your problems to yourself. So my message today is simple. Don't isolate yourself. Don't ignore your emotional well-being. It's so important that you see things in the right light, that you see positivity, that you understand the positive that's around you. If you have problems with depression, if you have anxiety, realize that you're not alone, because a lot of us suffer from similar things. Maybe not all the time, but we all have episodes. And those episodes are the things that can really lead to problems. You don't want to be in a position where you're stuck, depressed, isolated, and alone. So if you feel this stuff, please reach out. Reach out to a friend, reach out to a colleague, call a hotline. I'll put a couple of links down below to resources that I think are good from the psychiatric standpoint if you're looking for help. If you happen to be watching this and you're in that place, don't succumb, Don't just settle in life. Find your happiness, find your joy. Find a way to look past your current circumstances and see that just around the corner, better circumstances lay ahead. If you're good, but you see someone, a fellow brother, struggling, somebody you know is having problems, don't be afraid to talk to them. Reach out. You may be the person that helps change their course and move them back into a situation where they can find happiness. Very often, just as we isolate ourselves as men, we often are kind of hesitant to reach out because it's, touchy-feely, feeling stuff. Surround yourself with people, with men that you can talk to, friends you can talk to, so you don't find yourself being that isolated person. Last part of this challenge is to tag people to do the same thing. You want to keep that train rolling. You want people to think about men's health, and the more YouTubers in particular make videos about it, maybe we'll get the spotlight on men's health. So I'm going to tag 4 people. 3 people are inside of the bushcraft community. One is Ethan at EDC Adventures. Second is Matthew at Life in the Taiga, and James at the Junkyard Fox. I'll put links to all their videos down below. I'll try to tag them on social media so that they know that they were tagged. Now the last one is a little different. There's a channel called The Lake Fork Guy. This is a gentleman named Justin Rackley, and I think it's rather interesting. He may never watch this video and may never do the challenge, but I thought it would be worth trying to do 2 things. First of all, expand the challenge outside of just the outdoors bushcraft community and maybe start getting some people like him who do fishing and hunting and spread it from there to maybe some other bigger YouTubers to really get the spotlight kind of shining on men's mental health. The interesting thing about Lake Fork Guy is that in the last couple years, while on YouTube, you've seen him progress through a brain tumor. He was fishing, doing his normal thing, and all of a sudden one day he starts talking about having a headache, and it gets real, real bad, and he's recently married, and his wife takes him in, and he's got a brain tumor. And you go through the process of him going through surgery and recovery, and now he's doing great. He's nicknamed it Willis. Willis because it's around the circle of Willis, which is a collection of arteries in your brain. I assume that that's why Rackley called it Willis. Anyway, I imagine he had to have gone through a tremendous amount of emotional turmoil through this whole thing. I mean, you don't go through a disease like that without really, really facing life's big questions. And I thought maybe he would be great to expand on men's mental health and the kind of things that he went through during that difficult struggle that has turned out really well, but for a while there nobody knew how he was going to do. I want to thank Edward Shin for tagging me in this. It's been really cool to sit down and think about a video about men's health. I invite everybody, feel free to join the challenge if you want to. I think it's a great cause. Obviously, mental health in general is really important, but it is nice to see something specific about men and mental health because it is a unique situation that men are often in. No more unique than what women are in, but unique nonetheless. I hope what I said makes sense, and I hope it encourages you to realize that mental health is a part of medicine. And part of medicine means that these are diseases that can be treated. There's a lot of medicines that can help. Counseling can help. You don't have to feel that you're in a situation that you can't get out of. There's always help. As always, guys, I really appreciate you checking out the Paleo Hiker MD channel. Really enjoying the beautiful weather here in Louisiana. Got a couple really cool things planned. So make sure you share this on social media. Use the hashtag #ShowMeYourSteak. I'm going to do the same, and we'll try to get as much word out there as we can to shine the light on men's mental health. I hope everybody is able to respond to the tag, and I hope you try my steak recipe out because it is the best. Thanks for watching, guys.